The Yankees have a stacked farm system that could give us powerful hitters,
swing and a drive,
fireball pitchers,
swing and a miss,
and franchise icons.
Drill deep to left field.
But keeping track of the stars of tomorrow can be difficult, so we're going to bring you a weekly update on the farm system, highlighting some key contributors who had standout games across all levels of the farm system. Tune in today for a trailer of the movies you'll watch tomorrow, and get ready for the Baby Bombers podcast. This was an interesting week for the Tampa Tarpons, who continued to struggle. They went 1-5 in the past week. They've dropped to 5-16 on the season, but they got some really strong performances from Roderick Arias, who slashed .292, .414, and .417 over the past week. We've seen the strikeout rate dip over his last 8 games. He's hitting .303 with a 22.5% strikeout rate, and we're also starting to see him adjust in terms of working more walks. He's a prospect who has an unbelievable amount of talent thanks to his excellent raw power, great speed tools, and rocket arm. The problem is the hit tool. We don't know how much contact he can make reliably, and if he can improve that gradually, we're looking at one of the best prospects in baseball, point blank, period. He is unbelievably talented, and I'm super excited to see how he continues to play as the season goes on. Moving on to the pitching side of things for the Tampa Tarpons, Cade Smith fired 6 innings of 2-run baseball, striking out 7 batters with just 1 walk, and his stuff is really damn good. He sits at 93 miles per hour on the fastball with 18.1 inches of induced vertical break and about a negative 4.2 vertical approach angle, which creates more swing and miss because batters are swinging underneath it more often. Paired with a good slider that has a 47.6% whiff rate and sits around the 0 line in terms of movement, and you've got a strong profile that should play well as he continues to progress through the professional levels. Some other notable performers include Dylan Jaso and Benny Escaño, who both had OPSs above 800, and Gabriel Barbosa, who fired 6 innings of 1-run baseball, striking out 8 batters in the process. Things really aren't going the Tampa Tarpons' way right now, but we'll check back in on them when they get some more players, as a lot of the players they're expected to have on the roster right now are currently in extended spring training because they're coming off of a short season in the FCL, where they only play about 50 to 60 games, compared to the Tampa Tarpons season, where they play over 100. Let's move up a level to High A, where the Hudson Valley Renegades continue to be the pitching factory of the Yankee organization. They have the best ERA in all of High A, and they saw some really good outings from 2 Northeastern alumni who are also roommates. Let's get it started with Sebastian Keane, who fired 6 innings of 1-run baseball with 10 strikeouts, and there are some seriously interesting characteristics to his arsenal. He throws from a slightly lower release height than most, with decent vertical movement on his fastball and a good slider. The fastball sits at about 91 to 92 miles an hour, but the secondaries are good enough to help him generate swings and misses with ease. He's had a weird year thus far, with 2 terrible starts sandwiched in between some incredible starts as well, so hopefully he can find some form of consistency because it's fun to watch him spin the baseball. Another pitcher who stood out was his roommate, Cam Schlittler, who shoved as well, firing 6 innings, 2-run baseball, 7 strikeouts, and of course, no walks, which is the most impressive part here because he's kind of struggled with command at High A. He had back-to-back starts where he walked 4 batters, and now he's cut that walk rate down to 11.1% with a 32.1% strikeout rate and a really high ground ball rate as well. He's in his age 23 season, standing in at a whopping 6'6", and I personally believe that his sweeping slider is one of the better pitches in the organization. He's got a bit of a weird mix, throwing a fastball that has a lot more cut-ride action to it, but it's worked so far, and hopefully he can be in Somerset sometime during the summer. Let's go on the offensive side of the ball now, as Jesus Rodriguez put together an 8-hit week, the most for any player on the team, and he had a 134 WRC plus of the season with 7 RBIs and 1 home run. He hasn't generated a lot of game power, but the 15.8% strikeout rate and 368 OBP, showing off a strong ability to get on base with a good contact tool. He has a 26.3% line drive rate, a 40.4% fly ball rate, and a 33.3% ground ball rate, showing some good batted ball distribution as well. I'm super excited to see how he continues to progress as the season goes on, because he's already Rule 5 eligible, and it'll be interesting to see if he gets to Somerset or potentially even finishes the year in AAA, though I doubt that, if the Yankees choose to roster him or if they decide to trade him at the deadline to a team that will roster him. As for Jay Savina, he had his first full week with High A Hudson Valley after spending the start of the season on the injured list, list, and he picked up 6 hits, including a home run in his first week there. Now he has a 162 WRC+, a 439 OBP, and a 19.5% strikeout rate through his first 10 games. We're seeing a decrease in the strikeouts and an increase in the OBP. Those are 2 really good signs. I do want to see the game power kind of come back to him. He's only slugging 424, but if he's able to consistently get the ball in the air and consistently make contact and quality contact, he's going to be a guy who flies through the organization. He's only 20 years old. He had a really good end to his season last year in single A with the Brewers organization, and he could be in double A by the end of the year at just 21 years old. Now let's move up a level to double A with the Somerset Patriots, because my goodness, they have one hell of a lineup. And it gets started with Spencer Jones. Spencer Jones has had a great start to his season. He had a home run and 5 RBIs this past week, was one of 2 players to have 8 hits on the team this past week. We've seen his strikeout rate dip to 23.5%. The WRC plus sits at 179. The ground ball rate is down. The walk rate's up a little bit. I am just so excited about the changes Spencer Jones has made at the plate. He's pulling the ball more in the air. We're going to see a player who could really transform the way we look at the Yankees outfield, their offense, their team structure, if he's able to hit his ceiling, because he has superstar written all over him. And another one of his teammates that have been going absolutely bonkers this past week, the other guy with 8 hits, was Benjamin Cowles. Now, Benjamin Cowles is this team's 4-hitter, and Benjamin Cowles has a 200 WRC plus. If you don't know who Cowles is, it's because for the most part, he's been a pretty unknown prospect, a guy with a high strikeout rate who didn't generate a lot of game power in high A. He's entering his age 24 season. There just isn't going to be a lot of buzz about a guy in his 23, 24 years and doesn't have a lot of contact or power to speak for. But this year, he has a 42.1% fly ball rate, a 21.1% line drive rate, a 17.4% strikeout rate. That's a 10% decrease from last year. He's hitting .356 with a 442 OBP and a 644 slugging percentage. He hit 3 home runs this past week, has 14 RBIs. He is an extra base hit machine with 2 triples and 8 doubles. He is absolutely mashing right now, and there is a lot to be excited about with his profile because he's an infielder. The Yankees aren't particularly stacked in the upper levels of the minors in the infield conversation. There are a few guys who are interesting, but for the most part, it's not anyone that you would consider MLB ready right now, and I'm certainly interested to see how Cowles continues to progress because the ability to generate contact and do damage on contact has certainly improved across the board, and it's not by a marginal amount, it is dramatically, so keep your eyes on him as the season goes on. It almost feels like we shouldn't be talking about Double A without talking about Augustin Ramirez, who hit another 2 home runs and drove in 6 runs as well. He has been remarkable. He is unbelievable. His WRC plus is over 180. He's not striking out a lot. He has a walk rate north of 15%. He's cut the ground balls down. He is truly one of the best catching prospects in baseball. He's somebody I fully expect to be on top 100 lists by the time the season ends. And if he isn't on there, honestly, I don't know if I could respect the decision to keep him off. I just think he has to be on top 100 list at this point. He has been that good. He can hit baseballs 114 miles an hour. He has a really good feel for contact. He has a really good feel for the strike zone. There is nothing in his offensive profile that's really a problem. Lastly, we have Ben Rice, who is hitting .333 with 5 home runs, 12 RBIs, and a 244 WRC plus over his last 11 games. He had a leadoff home run yesterday. We're starting to see the walks creep up and the strikeouts creep down. He is such a powerful left-handed hitter. I am so excited to see him get a crack at AAA at some point during this year because I know once he's MLB ready, he is going to be a massive difference maker for this team. On top of that, another player that I kind of want to talk about, I know I mentioned Ben Rice would be the last hitter we talk about, but I need to talk about Jared Wegner. Jared Wegner is a remarkable hitter. He has hit another home run, 117 miles an hour. He has a sub 20% strikeout rate. He has a 143 WRC plus. He turns 25 in July, so he is a bit of an older guy at AA, but expect him to be in AAA soon. The power numbers are ridiculous. He's got about a 50 to 55 grade hit tool with 70 to 75, you could even argue 80 grade raw power. That's ridiculous. That's the type of stuff that gets you sent up a farm system quickly. This is his first full season with the organization. He was a 9th round pick. He's either going to get traded or he's going to be a part of the upper level minor league depth for now. Whatever it is, he is a super exciting player, and I'm very interested to see how he continues to progress in Somerset. Let's move on to the pitching staff, and oh boy, Brock Selvage has arrived in Somerset. He fired 7 innings of scoreless baseball, no walks, 11 strikeouts, just shoved it down the throat of the Reading Fightin' Phils. He has a 1.71 ERA in 4 starts there. He is generating a high strikeout rate. The walks are coming down. The ground ball rate's around 45%. I think the Yankees have stumbled into another top 100 prospect. The stuff is really good. The fastball is pretty average. It's about an average pitch, but the secondaries are really good. He's got a sweeping slider. He's got more of a gyro slider with more velo and a little more vertical drop. He's worked on the changeup, and that's become a really big swing and miss pitch for him. He's got a good cutter. He is just a strikeout artist who's figured out ways to tinker and improve the arsenal, and I'm so excited to see how he continues to develop. He's only 21 years old. He could fly through AA. I would be shocked, absolutely shocked, if he's not competing for a rotation spot in spring training next season. Another pitcher who had a really strong outing was Blaine Abeta, who really struggled early on the season. He has an ERA north of 6, but he fired 7 innings of 1-run baseball. It was an unearned run, so it didn't count towards his ERA. He struck out 9 batters, and he walked just 1. I hope this is a confidence booster for him because, again, all it takes sometimes is one start and just having something click. He doesn't have the outlook of becoming one of the 5, 6, or 7 best pitching prospects in the organization, but sometimes you can propel yourself into being upper-level minor league depth, and when you get your shot, you surprise and you learn some things at the major league level. I hope this is a propelling start for him and that he can continue to build off of this going forward. Another pitcher who was super interesting this week is Tristan Vierling. Now, he had an ugly ERA start, and I'm going to call it an ugly ERA start because he had allowed 4 runs in 5 innings, but at the same time, he struck out 7 batters and walked none. The overall ratios for him are super good. A 21.1% strikeout to walk rate, a 46.6% ground ball rate, and a 0.38 home run per 9. He's doing a good job of keeping the ball on the ground, avoiding damage contact, generating strikeouts, and not allowing a ton of walks. He is somebody who is just starting his professional career. He had Tommy John surgery last year and was going through that rehab process. He pitched in the Arizona Fall League to end the season last year and has now taken his first starts with an affiliated team at AA. He has an ERA below 2. He has a high strikeout rate. This is a guy you got to watch out for because he's going to propel up the top 30 conversation in the Yankees organization. He wasn't on my list entering the year, but I promise you he'll be somewhere in the top 20 in the midseason update. As for their bullpen, Jack Neely fired 4 innings of 1-run baseball in various outings. Going back to 2023, he has a 1.88 ERA and a 30.4% strikeout to walk rate across 28 and a third innings pitched. He is 6'8". He could be in the Yankee bullpen by the end of the season. He's got a really good slider. Fastball so-so, but I really like the strikeout profile, and I'm really excited to see how he continues to progress because he's just been dominant since arriving to Somerset. Finally, let's talk about the winningest affiliate for the Yankees right now, and that's the Scranton RailRiders, who sit at 17-9, atop the International League, the best run differential and record in all of AAA, and they have done really well on the pitching side of things. Will Warren had another really strong start, as he had 6 innings of 1-run baseball, where he struck out 6 batters to just 1 walk. His stuff has taken a real step forward since incorporating the fastball more into his pitch mix, and we're starting to see him transform into a swing and miss pitcher while maintaining the ground ball rates and seeing a little bit more of an improvement in terms of command. Over his last 10 outings dating back to last season, Will Warren has a 2.16 ERA and 31.3% strikeout rate. The Yankees definitely have a future rotation piece in him. I think the Yankees will include him in the rotation at some point in the next year or so, and that potentially we could see the Yankees have him in the middle of the rotation for the years to come. Moving on to a different starter, we have Clayton Beeter, who fired 5 innings of strong baseball with 2 runs allowed and 8 strikeouts, but the biggest thing here is 0 walks. And if we look at his last 7 starts dating back to last season, he has a 2.70 ERA with 53 strikeouts in 33-1 innings pitched. Granted, I'm not sure he's a starter long-term, but in whatever role he plays for the Yankees, he will bring them strikeouts. He's got a really strong fastball now that he's added a little more vertical ride to it, and the slider it's one of the grossest pitches I've seen any minor leaguer throw for the Yankees, so I'm super excited to see how he continues to progress throughout the year. Edgar Barclay, who's kind of a sleeper, turned in 5 1/3 innings of really strong baseball, allowing just 2 runs, and he struck out 7 batters in the process as well. His best pitch is clearly the changeup. The changeup has a whiff rate of 49.4%, and it plays well off of a fastball that has good vertical movement, although the fastball doesn't have a lot of velo. It sits at about 90 to 91 miles an hour. I think he's not going to make it as a starter, but he could be an interesting reliever. I mean, off-speed usage is up across the league, and we've seen an increase in reliance on those pitches, so maybe he's somebody who profiles for a new wave of MLB pitching or this new trend that we've seen. Another player that stood out on the offense side of the ball now now was Caleb Durbin, who had a strong series against the Durham Bulls, helping guide the Scranton offense to a 4-2 series win against the Rays AAA affiliate. He slashed .333, .448, and .500 with a home run and 5 RBIs, rebounding nicely after a couple of rough weeks at the plate, which makes sense because he got off to such a hot start. I mean, he was one of the best hitters in all of professional baseball for a few weeks there. And the big improvements we've seen are an increase in the pulled fly ball rates, while not increasing the strikeout rates by a lot. His walk rates are really good, and I'm super excited to see how he continues to progress because he already has a 139 WRC plus and 426 OPP through 26 games. He's also played 5 different positions. He's played second, short, third, left field, and center field. So he is a super utility man who could certainly help this bench if needed. Again, they are the first place team in all of AAA. They have the best record in AAA. They are in a really good spot right now to potentially try to make the playoffs after not making it last year. And they'll play the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp, continuing their trip down south. That is a team that is up there in the standings in the International League, so this is a pretty big series for them. Hopefully they can keep the ball rolling. Now, before we say goodbye, make sure you guys drop a comment in the comment section below and get involved in the conversation. We want to know what you guys are thinking. We appreciate any and all feedback, and of course, we want to know what your thoughts are on the Yankees and their current situation. So, with that being said, you can also check us out on other social medias and also join the conversation on there on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and our Facebook page. We really appreciate your guys' support, and of course, you guys can make sure to subscribe and turn on that notification bell so you do not miss out on the next awesome piece of content we've got coming out. And of course, YouTube recommends you watch the video on screen right now. I'm Ryan Garcia, this is Fireside Yankees, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.
Perfect.